bunch of longtime friends and nerdy-ass internet users transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and basically screw each other and themselves over on a regular basis. But that's every party in the history of ever, because, particularly when you're ride or die with frosting, what one fucks up is a fuck up for all concerned. Previously, after a bit of an emergency evac from the beach at Star Coast, the group wound up in Belrace, planning to spend a couple of days there before heading to Agref. Probably going to spend a day or so there prepping, and then heading through the cliffs dividing Baronsveer and Equitas to sort of sneak up behind a blue dragon. We're assuming it's the ancient. We're not 100% sure, but we're making the assumption, in order to murder it so that it stops, well, she stops taking out all the reinforcements and resupply that are going to the Belarace mercenaries thing in Goldendale. The day that was set up after a very overbearing momly dinner at the Crestwind house was one of Froseth's dearest wishes, a day to themselves. Now, some, if not most of you, are well aware of what Remy and Alice spent that day doing. And some of you have got tattoo appointments after they were doing the thing. But as far as the rest of it goes, the day is yours to do with as you please, particularly if you didn't have an appointment. Let's face it, we'll probably deal with Froseth first, because half of Froseth's day is having needles. Lots and lots of needles. But that's okay, because let's face it, the rewards for the afternoon of needles are pretty much something. Yeah. So what does Froseth want to do with the start of his day? Didn't think of that, did you? You had 2 weeks to think about this.
There's not much he would want to do. I mentioned at the end of that, looking for an immovable rod somewhere if one was available. But aside from just wandering, he wouldn't really have much to do.
That's entirely
time to himself.
That's entirely fair. No, probably most of it would be looking for an immovable rod and realizing that that kind of thing is useful enough to be largely taken up by the merc types who are wandering around the place. Like things like, I don't know, healing potions and the rest of it. You may have to wait until Agref to be able to get your talons on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's mostly spending the morning looking around, asking about something to the order of an immovable rod, and being told they're sold out.
Okay.
But this is why I went first with you, because
Yeah.
You didn't have that much to do. I'm fairly sure that the concept of doing the Oralmus shopping is kind of. He probably realized that 10 minutes before the appointment his appointment's supposed to start, and then just going, duh. and figuring, well, there's Agref, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, so basically it was just wandering around the market and the various shops, unfortunately not finding an immovable rod, and then needles all afternoon. Now, who else wasn't getting anything?
I didn't get a tattoo.
Okay, let's deal with clarities, because I have a feeling I know at least part of what she's gonna spend her day doing. So let's do that.
Okay.
So Clarity is going to be doing some shopping, looking for a haversack for her library, ink for spell copying, and she's particularly for presents going to be looking for like if there's like an artists alley or like at cons.
There are okay, let's go one at a time. Um
Okay,
the haversack is very easily had. That will run you 2 gold.
okay,
The ink,
done.
how much of it do you want? How much worth, basically?
I don't know how much like a spell takes up.
I think it depends on
So
the spell. I imagine it'd be,
okay,
I imagine the higher the level of the spell, the more it's probably going to take. But
Start at 50 or something and go up from there.
well, I'll just start with fifth. Well, I don't have that much like personal gold.
yeah, but
So
Smeagol, you didn't give a denomination to that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's 50. Sorry, it's 50 gold for the
Yeah, but
components to
keep in
copy.
mind, I've been, oh, that's copying a spell, but that's not necessarily just the ink, and I've been a bit more generous about the gold cost of things anyway.
E-
I mean, let's face it.
The
But I
haversack
mean,
alone says it.
yeah, I mean, but to be fair though, copying a spell is probably going to be a little bit different because that goes outside the number of spells that you're actually allowed through leveling up. So that is something that I'm taking into consideration. So we'll say that it will cost you um, 2 gold per spell copied.
okay.
So it depends on how
Um,
much you want to have in reserve.
I'll go with 6 golds worth for now.
Okay.
And sort of gauge it by there from
Okay.
there.
Yep. And you'll find artists. There's, I mean, it's not so much an alley, but it's kind of like open air markets and touristy places in just about any major tourist city where you'll have people doing sketches and paintings and stuff along those lines. So really, but it's still an artist alley thing of look around, see whose style you like, and take your pick.
Okay, I'm looking in particular for like fan art of bard songs of the Cupcake Coterie.
Oh no.
And I'm trying to find like one that features at least one of each of the others.
Oh no.
uh, well, Barnabas hasn't filtered into the songs yet.
Right. I've
Um,
taken that into consideration.
um, but yeah. Now we roll the ubiquitous hand of fate. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's kind of bouncing around from stall to stall in terms of artists, but um, and some are harder to find than others because they haven't done quite the same epic level things, or if they haven't quite filtered into the ballads yet.
Sure.
But there is one, the first one you find actually because it's local is Froseth's water whip against the ocean hag.
Nice.
Um, you do find a bard that looks remarkably like Darwin, except with rabbit ears, so he's probably in mid-change at that point. Just the expression on your face. Um, you've got you've got Remy, is apparently the Erdраug apparently made it in. So Remy's killing blow on that one made it in. There is one that's as much sad nostalgia as anything else because somehow somebody has got the story of Hazel splatting the ghast. So it's half triumphant and half Darvin, Furseth, and Nora scraping bits of ghast off themselves.
Love it.
um, there are a couple, and it's a stylistic choice, more or less, of which one you want of Alice taking down the red dragon. Unfortunately, Ava hasn't really had an epic moment as yet, so she doesn't really feature, but she will get there. Although there is one, it doesn't involve her so much, but there is one of Nye um, standing in front of a Dracolich, and you can just see him saying, "I have two words for you, Mr. Dragon."
um, so for Ava and Barnabas, for Barnabas, I want to see if I can get commissioned, like maybe just a sketch, something not too expensive, but a sketch of him with like little children hanging
I
off
was
of his
just
horns.
about to say. I mean, there is actually a moment you can describe for him, which was Evan on one and Skylar on the other one. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's easy enough done. You can pick it up towards the end of the day.
And then also one for Ava where she's sort of a stylistic one where she's setting up the cordon of arrows in the recent fight.
Cool. Okay. Yep. That's all definitely doable. We don't really have one for Hazel either, although looking around, you will see one that is kind of. It's a similar one to the kind of thing that she's getting commissioned for Barnabas because it's Hazel surrounded by kids of various species.
Oh.
I mean,
Okay.
there's some elements that remind of the Hearthhome kids, but apparently she's talked enough about family that some stuff has filtered through. So it's sort of Hazel the Beneficent kind of thing.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Although she in that particular picture she's as excitable squee yay as the little ones all around her. But that's Hazel, so you know that works.
I think I like the splatting ghast one better.
No, that's fair. But I mean, it one way or the other, it's Hazel. Just various different elements of Hazel.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And what round would that cost me?
Yeah, artists tend to undervalue, which is sad, but they do, and they usually have to. So
Yeah.
I think 35 silver the lot.
Okay. I will give one extra silver to each of the artists as a tip. And finally, after my shopping is done, I'm gonna head to the library to research and write contract.
Okay. I don't know how long writing that would have taken you, so
No, but just a lot of consideration and futzing with the wording.
Okay, that's fair. That's entirely fair. So we'll handle your actual handing over the contract another time, I take it.
Yes.
Okay. Ava.
Could we say that I procured a small amount of party funds from Froseth before we separated? Because I actually don't hardly have any on me.
To be fair, it's either party funds or Alice is insanely wealthy and would be perfectly happy to lend you.
Well, either or, whichever.
Yeah, it's probably easier that than taking from party funds. So,
True, true.
how much are you asking for?
Mhm. Probably 15 or 20 gold. Probably get at least started.
Yeah, she basically drops 3 platinum on you and just
Oh,
go nuts.
okay. Thank you.
It
Probably.
can I remind you? Just somebody needs to spend it. You can pay me back if you're that fussy about it, but shoo, have fun.
Is there any leather workers? Like,
Yeah,
I'll start looking for one of them. Um,
I mean, there's plenty of leather workers. It depends on
hmm.
what you're after.
Well, because what I'd like is basically not quite a wallet, but sort of a foldable piece of leather where you put a portrait on one side and have an inscription on the other.
Okay, I think I know the kind of thing you mean. They're not hugely common here, but you can find something in less leather working for that and more weirdly in the sort of artists area because that's how they'll generally speaking display their work for
Mm-hmm.
mercenaries who want to keep their stuff dry
Mm-hmm.
if they're getting, physical drawings.
Mm.
But yeah, you can get something like that pretty easily.
And I'm gonna ask for basically a portrait of Froseth, Skylar, and Faraday sort of together. Describe them as
Hmm.
detailed as possible. And as the inscription, I'd like the
Sorry,
them
Ethan.
to have
Oop.
Lindira said her
She said,
connection froze, but it looked
yeah,
like it was
sorry.
fine to me. I think something else froze on her end.
The inscription to be 2-second chances.
Okay.
Then I'd look. How much would that run, Neil?
Um, given what I charged Clarity for the art, but then there's the leather wallet and the actual inscribing. Um, we'd be going for 2 gold the package, and
Okay.
you can pick up the actual sketch at the end of the day.
Okay. Then would there be something like people who service violins or instruments of some?
I mean, there's a couple of musical instrument spots. Yeah.
Because what I'd hope for is some sort of servicing kit, sort of like to clean it or wax it or whatever
Oh
you
yeah,
need.
that kind of thing is easy. I mean, some merc companies do have bards.
Sure. So I'll grab one of those. Um, hmm. And if there's something that has lots of like ribbons and things like that,
Yeah, there's haberdashers.
like if I can find a very nice green one with like golden embroidery.
That's easy enough. That's easy enough found. The fuel maintenance kit will cost you a gold. The
Mm.
ribbon, you're looking at 5 coppers max.
Well, well, I was gonna ask if they can sort of sew in names into it, but that might be a bit
That's it's a
tricky.
little bit trickier, and that's more of an actual tailor
Mm.
job. But
Never mind.
it's
Just
I
sort of
mean it's possible. Obviously, it can be a bit more costly. What did you have in mind?
well, sort of basically either just heart or well, that would probably take forever. The names of all the people, but maybe just heart would
Well,
be
there
quicker.
is magic, so
Mm.
if you don't mind paying for a magically rushed product, Yeah,
Well,
so I mean that the additional work will bring it from the 5 coppers for materials to 5 silver for the whole work bit.
mm, mhm. Oh yeah, and if I can find a sort of elegant notebook with nothing in it,
There's
and maybe kind of
yeah. I
flask or
mean,
something.
how elegant do you want it, and what's your price range? Because notebooks everywhere.
Well, fairly simple but sort of sturdy.
Yeah, I think I've got I actually own something. You mean it's a leather book, so that if
Mm,
there's spillages and it doesn't wreck the paper within. Yeah, that'll run you another 5 silver.
okay. Uh, then there was a. If there's anywhere that has fancy quills or something like that.
There are scribe shops. Yep. I mean, probably the same kinds of places you'd get the notebook.
I'll grab one of those as well. Maybe if there's one with different colour feathers or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can get them in whatever colors you like. To be
Mm,
fair, so if you're looking for clarity, her favorite color is blue. She has said this many times.
yeah, well, a nice vibrant blue then.
Yeah. That'll be like. I mean, to be fair, it's a quill. It's a silver max.
Mm. Mm, uh, well, I'm assuming a sword polishing kit wouldn't be too hard to come by, given an adventurous passing or
No, but
something.
in all fairness, I don't think there's anybody in this party that doesn't have a magic sword. They
Mm,
don't nick, they don't scratch, they
mm,
don't blunt.
fair enough. Mm,
And she probably
think
thinks about that, and the gentleman
not
she's
really
talking to
needed.
looks at her sword and goes, but that's a magic sword. I
Oh,
guess
well,
it's
wasn't thinking for me, but
oh, yeah, I
yes,
know,
you're
but
right. Good
she'd be
point.
thinking, wait a minute, okay, first a
Yeah,
sword, Darwin's sword.
that
Thank
is a
you.
good point. I'll think of something. If I can find a jewel store, I would look for maybe an anklet that's sort of shaped like wings.
You can, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be cruel. You wander in there sort of towards the early afternoon, and you basically wind up with half elf man, half elf woman, and an elven man who it looks young enough to be their son, but is clearly their dad. And the two half elves are gossiping and giggling to themselves in a way that immediately tells you that Alice and Remy have been here. And apparently it was beyond adorable.
It was just sort of trying to keep keep it quiet enough. But just think, no, they're gonna hate that if they find out.
The half elf gentleman looks over and goes, "Oh, sorry, can we help you?"
Hi, I was looking for an anklet, maybe if you had something shaped like wings, perhaps.
Not so much the anklets themselves shaped like wings, but I do think we have some with a sort of a wing charm. You
Oh, that
realize
would
you've
do.
you've completely given this away to anybody with a decent int score, so
Okay.
sort of. You wouldn't be shopping for a lady with very pale, bright blonde hair, would you?
Are the others still there?
No, they've gone. They were there at the start of the day. You
Right.
turned up after lunch.
Okay. Maybe.
The half elves just start. They just burst out giggling at that point. And the elven gentleman's just, I will deal with the customer if you.
Dude, this is gonna start so many rumors.
Oh yes.
Pretty much. And he does come out with something that's white gold piece with just a simple chain with wings sort of fastened at opposite ends of the chain so that it kind of turns up on the outside of the ankle in a sort of a Hermes boot kind of way.
That's perfect.
That
How much
that
value?
that one. I did select one of our more adventurer-friendly pieces, as I
Perfect.
am familiar with the individual to whom this is. She's going to shine
He's
as
hard to
much.
miss.
She's going to shine as much as her hair does anyway, given today alone. But yes, no, this will run you 3 gold.
Perfect.
And you're thankfully not asking me for any charms or any enchantments or anything on it, so.
No, thank you. That'll be fine.
Would you like it wrapped?
Yes, please.
Wraps it up. This is a shop that does it the old-fashioned way, so. And presents that to you, and the half elves are still giggling. Will you two demonstrate some modicum of decorum? No, it's too cute.
Thank you very much.
Have a lovely day.
You too. I was going to think of looking for something for the Hearth Home people, but I might wait for to get the others' input.
Well, there is ever and always the doll's house. And the sweet shops in Egriff, because you know you're going through there, so.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's probably going to be smaller things, because even bags of holding have a capacity, guys.
Well, I think that's about me done.
Okay then. So you don't get trampled over again, Darvin.
Oh,
Somebody doing your idea.
oh, yeah. Actually, I got a good one. I'll get to that in a minute. So the first thing Darwin is going to do is, well, on the way out of the tattoo shop, he'll pause a moment, be like, turn to one of the proprietors.
Well, it's probably Gelfred.
Okay, and inquiring where the nearest scribe shop is. Basically, like I got a letter I got to send out. Where's the closest place to do that? To here.
Well, a scribe shop is more where you actually pick up the means to write letters. You're cute, but your intellect needs a little bit more of a workout. Thankfully for you, most scribe shops are relatively near delivery offices, but depending on where it's going, what the nature of the missive is, how quick you want it to get there, it could prove costly.
It's within Equitas. It's just a simple letter, and it doesn't need. It's no real time limit.
Well, that's something that you'll have to discuss with them, but Scribe Alley is a little bit more in the direction of the university. There'll be signs, you can't miss it.
Thanks. So yeah, he'll head there. And looking around, he doesn't really need anything to write the letters because he's got plenty of paper and pen and ink and such. But it's more to find somebody that can, post office of some sort.
Yeah. I mean, like Alfred said, there is one spot. Basically just bright red wooden sign with envelope with a set of wings attached to it.
Because they're half expecting a gold hat with wings. Anyway.
I hate you. I do have the tiniest bit of imagination. Just a teeny weeny bit.
It was brilliant. So yeah, going on in. I'm assuming nobody else is around in there already.
Well, there's actually because there's a whole bunch of Belarus mercenaries stuck there for the time being. It's actually kind of full.
Oh.
I mean, what you've got is there's a counter like you'd find at the average post office, but there's also little kind of not so much desks as little kind of shelves where you can stand and write a thing
Okay.
because
Yeah. Then.
it saves space because man, do they need space because there's at
Yeah.
this point
Wow.
there's a half a dozen mercenaries writing home.
Okay. I will find a clear space and pull out some paper and a pen real quick and just
Uh,
write the letter.
Hand of Fate says you've got to wait about 10 minutes
That's fine.
until one empties out.
I can wait patiently because I'm looking at the looks on people's faces and I'm just like, well, people are like, some of them are writing some serious stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
And a
you
few
know,
people.
they do seem to be trying to get news that they're okay ahead of any bard tale about
Yeah.
what's going on.
Well, yeah,
So,
exactly. And being one, I'm like, gotcha. Let me not get in anybody's way. And so
yeah,
eventually getting some space. The content of the letter is short, sweet, simple. It's Governor Correa Bendis. Salutations. I hope this letter finds you well. Put simply, I wish to formally apologize for my behavior in your presence. Suffice it to say, I was an idiot. I'm still an idiot, but I'm trying to do better. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Darwin Taylor. That is the letter I'm going to send to Home Affair to Correa Bendis.
Be dreading her reaction.
well, let's start with he takes it to the counter and he's like, "You want this sent to the governor's building?"
I think. I don't know how else to get it to her.
Governors live in the governor building. That's where they live. It's
Oh.
But you want to send a letter to the governor.
Yes.
I don't even know how we charge for that.
Yeah. Welcome to context.
Hold on, just one moment. There's things that need asking. This little halfling guy, balding, kind of older, pads out, opens the door, and yells, "Ma'am! We have something that's a bit above my pay grade!" And out steps a rather bright blue tiefling, black hair, red eyes, looks at this thing, looks at you, nudges the halfling over to the next desk and comes up to you. Actually, we probably don't want to have this conversation publicly. Come through to my office.
Okay. It's the first time Darwin's ever sending a letter to anybody that important, so he has no clue what to do. I mean, the nobles and such were important, but not quite on the same level.
But that's the thing, he was one at the time.
Well, that too. So now he's trying to do it.
And you know, there were inter-family careers for that. You didn't go to a post office. Baronsphere doesn't have post offices.
Right.
We have next to nothing over there.
So yeah,
Right.
you're led into what is probably the tidiest managerial office you have ever seen. It's just everything is perfectly organized.
And I'm like, I'm touching nothing.
And the tiefling kind of sits down, looks at this envelope, and looks at you, and goes, "Now, we don't normally make it a practice to intrude on our customers' privacy, but as you can probably appreciate, sending just about anything to government officials requires a certain amount of care. particularly governor types in Equitas in general. So might I ask, rather than reading your post, although we might have to do that anyway because we do know what words can do, um, we have had situations where it was an incident of I prepared explosive runes this morning.
Oh,
You hadn't thought of that, had you?
I was honestly thinking more about the right wording in a totally different context. No, I hadn't thought of that. I wouldn't dare. Wow. Okay. Um, but no, I now I understand the precaution. Oh, wow. Okay.
Amateur.
That didn't come through.
Amateur. In any case, why are you writing?
Uh, I I behaved very stupid in her presence, and while I made recompense in other areas, I never actually got the chance to formally apologize. So I was attempting to do so. It's literally just saying, I'm sorry I was stupid.
From a very long way off.
Well, yes.
Cowardly amateur. All right.
Well, I don't know when we're going to be there next, and I don't know how. Well, we're having to. Me and my companions were tasked with dealing with the blue dragon situation, so it was sort of do it now, just in case.
Honestly, having heard some of the bad stories about you, and knowing what I do about the premiership of this country, you're probably just not quite intelligent enough to lie sufficiently. And the only true miracle is that you are in fact still standing. Given that it is going to be subject to various checks on the other end, and we're not simply going to chuck that into the post, that will be a gold total.
Immediately, just and I'm just going to be like, I'm going to go now.
Oh, Darvin.
A word of caution. Instead of just announcing that you're going to take your leave, perhaps ask people if your business is concluded first. It does make you look rather less like a rude oik.
I say something, I get in trouble. I try not to say something, I get in trouble. I'm sorry.
That was actually notes for the future. You could not possibly lower yourself in my estimation at this point. I don't really care enough about you one way or the other.
Okay. Thank you.
Please get out of my office.
Very, very carefully walking out the door. That went about as well as expected, so that's awesome. Okay.
Admittedly, I was very mean to you by bringing Serena out as the person running the post
Yeah,
office.
as soon as the red eye,
Wow.
as soon as I heard red eyes and blue skin, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I'm doomed.
uh,
And then the voice just cemented it. I was
Dodge.
like, great.
Well, who else are you going to get to run something that important that gets information from everywhere?
And that organized. So, hey. Anyway,
Always the
so
best.
after getting outside, walking a good fair distance, and breathing, finally, because holy crap, I will pause, look, game time, okay, okay, And somewhere on my person, I think I still have one of the maps of Belarus that we got way back when. So I want to pull that out to refresh my memory as to exactly where the dollhouse is.
You're not too far.
Because I think that's going to be my next stop. So figuring out where, yes. So yeah, I'll go ahead and make a beeline for the doll's house.
Okay.
And go on in.
It's as per usual. You've got your little glass cases of living plush kittens and living plush puppies. And boing, 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 boing,
Yep.
boing.
Which I'm gonna browse a little bit, just in the off chance of seeing something unique or different that Jolo might like, only because this is a very unique place. But mostly I'm going to be going back over to the bin of plush kittens.
Well, one of the things that they have that either wasn't noticed or wasn't considered the last time they were there was there's a really little stove that you can actually put a small coal in and actually cook.
Hmm.
And for a gold total, you actually get the little tiny pots and pans and.
Looking at that, and Darwin's like, I mean, I'm assuming Pixie's cook. It would make sense. Okay.
Well, she could learn if not,
If nothing else, yeah. So okay, yeah. So I'll go ahead and gold for the stove and the pots and pans, and then I will also kind of look through the kittens and see. Hmm.
There's one that's kind of got the you know that kind of floofy Siamese colored ones.
That's kind of like I want floof, not floof, but floofy, like
Yeah.
not like Maine Coon long hair, but not short hair. There's sort of like an in between
Yeah,
between those two.
it's the more kind of Persian floof.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that kind of length.
that's the approximate floof of that kind of floofy Siamese-ish kind of.
Right, exactly. Okay, so we are on the same page. Cool. Yeah, so I will very carefully scoop it out.
It's one of those ones with the rather shorter legs and
Like it's a munchkin.
big blue eyes and just.
Yes, yes. I have a friend who is going to love you, and so
But
if I don't adopt you myself, must resist, must resist. Be strong, strong Durban, strong Durban. So yeah, and I'll the stove, the pots, and
yeah,
not sure what your name
the,
is.
the stove and pots and pans all come in one bundle, so you don't have to. And basically, it's stove plus utensils.
Right.
All the utensils. I mean, they've even got little tiny ladles.
Good Lord. I'm like, squint. Can barely see that. Okay. Probably Sapphire for now. Unless she comes up with a different name.
Yeah, but again, there's the collars, so the name you pick is the name it's gonna have.
Oh. Dang.
You picked
Okay.
one.
Yeah, Sapphire is a good name, so yeah. Okay. I'll go with that. The eyes kind of cemented it. These big blue sapphire looking eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the little blue collar and the little and the charm disc so that it can be called to owner.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And
Meanwhile, it's not so much claws as almost a kind of a magic Velcro, so it doesn't break skin, but currently Sapphire is climbing your arm.
she is supposed to be a gift, but I'm not really sure how that would work. How that works. I'm sorry, I've never purchased.
Just don't hold to the just don't hold the actual tag in your hand.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'll arrange a spot in my pack for a sapphire for now. Just thinking to myself, I'm probably gonna have to give this to her early.
Yeah, okay, well, because currently your pack is squirming. Because
Yep. That's okay. That's okay. I was like, oh, this maybe I should have come here later. Oh well, I didn't think this through. I never think anything through. Anyway, so now I'm going to go to the general market. I'm looking for oddly enough, a rug seller, or like where I could find rugs or tapestries or decorative mats.
yeah, you'll find that kind of thing more in the outdoor market, actually.
Mhm.
So yeah, you can find that kind of thing easily enough.
Okay, so what I'm trying to find, basically, what I want to find is I want to find one that's fairly thick with a mountain landscape done on it in embroidery and such.
Yeah,
If I can.
that's easy enough to find.
Excellent.
That will, because I mean this is some pretty solid tapestry work. That's going to run you 4 gold.
Wow, worth it. Froseth just got himself a new meditation mat.
Of course, then he remembers that he doesn't have a bag of holding, and that's not going to fit in his pack.
Nope.
So
I'm
he's
like,
walking around the
Yep.
walking around the market with a
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, totally.
and a squirming pack.
Yep. Probably around this time, I will have remembered, gone just like, okay, I did the order of this all wrong. Okay, you know what? I'm going to head back to the Bravo's Boast to drop off the mat and sapphire for now, so my pack won't be quite so squirming.
Yes, but at the same time, you put Sapphire down because Sapphire hasn't been keyed to an owner and just bumbles under the bed.
Oh wait, crap! And you're not real, so that won't work. Crap! You're not an actual animal, so I can't. Damn! Scrabble under the bed, trying to get her back. What do I roll for that?
Honestly, at this point, that's gonna have to be a grapple check. So athletics with disadvantage because you're small and you have no space.
Yep.
Oh
there it is.
no.
That one. I'm stuck.
Yeah, you are stuck under the bed, and Sapphire is gone lolloping out the door.
Oh, oh hell. I am squirming and struggling and probably taking at least 3 bludgeoning damage from cracking my head on the bottom of the bed.
Give me a dex save at this point, I think.
Okay.
What are the chances that one of us comes upon him just
Oh,
trying
that was
to
that was
figure
with
out-
disadvantage, so a 14.
You get out, but your shirt kind of rips, and but I'm gonna say that because Clarity did have some stuff to drop off before she went to library for writing stuff down. She comes up the stairs to the floor where you guys have rooms, and this tiny plush munchkin cat is bumbling down the corridor, and from the open door that you seem to remember was Darwin, Barnabas, and
You're
Rose
hearing
in the
me
room. You're
swearing.
hearing swearing, but there's also this little bumbling floof cat.
Going, son of a mother, Sapphire, get back here!
Darwin, did we lose something?
Clarity, get it, it's yours!
What? And I run after it.
It doesn't. Shit, the plush cat just run past you, sort of bumbles up to you, sort of, and
That's-
then just headbutt. Boonk.
Oh, thank goodness, happy hour on this. I did not think the order of buying things through. I am not smart.
You're all muffled. Where are you?
and then
Just carrying this cat.
yeah, you well,
Yeah.
it's not
Thunk! Oh, ow!
and you do hear a rip as a nail
Oh!
catches on your shirt.
Crap. Oh, thank God for mending. Oh, boy.
Come through the door, and I imagine I just see his feet flailing
No,
around.
he's
under
ripped,
the
he's ripped his way out.
No, but I'm
now,
like, I'm looking at my shirt with my hand in the back of my head going, ow, that hurt. Oh, okay, that didn't draw blood, but oh, man.
What happened? Is it a mimic or something?
Oh, it's, butterscotch? It's like butterscotch. It's I named her Sapphire.
No, the bed.
What? Oh, Sapphire ran under there, and I tried to get her out, and I got stuck, and...
And currently,
Are
you're just
you
getting
Sapphire?
you just get butt.
Yeah, well, I had to name her on the spot. I'm sorry, but I got her for you.
Oh,
And well, I mean, look at her eyes. And
she's adorable.
and I didn't really think this through.
You
didn't-
might you might not to get her to bind to the tab
Oh.
now.
Yeah. Hang on to hold on to the collar, the tag.
No,
and
not the
she'll-
one on her neck.
Huh?
The summoning one. Remember,
Oh!
it's a
Oh,
matching
right.
set.
I forgot. Here. This is the other one. So she'll be yours.
Oh. Okay, this happened really fast. I will just hold on to this.
Yeah.
And
And after
Okay.
about a minute, it really is just does the scent marking head rub mine.
oh.
Yeah, no, I called her Sapphire because as soon as I saw the eyes, it was the first thing that popped into my head. So she kind of told me her name.
Well, I think that's a fine name, and
Oh, thank goodness.
she's so cute.
So
Oh no.
I didn't mean to have to wind up giving yours a little early, but yeah, I really didn't think that through.
And does the Velcro climb sort of up onto your shoulder, curls up against your neck, and just
So now you have whiskers in your neck. Enjoy that.
It tickles, but I like her there.
So
Thank
happy
you.
or almost a little early. I'm gonna. Okay. Better. Going to be better.
and that
Okay.
ends up, yeah.
Okay. Phew, good. Okay. I gotta go. I got some more stuff to pick up or find or such. Whew.
Slow down a bit. Slow down, and go carefully. Stop getting into fights with beds.
It's the first time I've ever struggled that much with a bed by myself. On that note,
Too
I'm
much
gonna go.
information. Too much.
On that note, I'm gonna go. Back to the market. Where it's safe.
And you guys more or less go your separate ways.
Separate
as far as
ways
that
at that
goes,
point.
but,
Yeah. Whew. Okay. Let me pull up my. So I want to find. Well, let's see. Hmm. Just where would they even like someplace that would sell cooking utensils, like
Again.
actual, like full on.
Well, again, yeah, you can get some in the main market, and there were some
Okay.
shops, just along the. I mean, the market lock isn't just the market. There's shops
Mhm.
all along, but
Right. So yeah, just some nothing fancy, just sturdy, good quality, but pretty bog standard kitchen stuff. Some like a good solid cast iron skillet, like really solid cast iron skillet.
frying pans. Who knew, right?
And anything more than wooden spoons, some spatulas and various other utensils and such, to put together like a decent set for Hazel. I'm not sure how much that might run me. Probably a
Yeah, that would end up for good quality, sturdy, the kind of thing you can carry around and use both on a stove and over an open fire.
exactly.
You are running to 2 gold for the whole set,
Yeah, that's what that
the
what I figured.
spatulas, the spoons, the ladles, and you will
Especially
given
for good quality cast
yeah,
iron.
and given the shopping that you're doing with that, you can also get a reasonable selection of herbs and spices thrown in there as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. When I say yeah, like this is the type of situation where like I'm looking at the cast iron and I'm thinking about Hazel and I'm like, she's cooking. Something happens. Yeah, I could see her swinging that. Okay. It's got to be able to take a hit to the skull of something. So yeah, that'll do. So like, I pick it up. They're probably looking at me funny because I'm picking it up and I'm like, knock, 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 knock. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's good. That'll work.
Actually, what you do get is a elderly halfling lady proprietor go, oh, just give it a good swing. Everybody else does.
Okay.
Mercenaries.
Good point. Yeah. Oh. Ooh. I never thought I'd say this about a skillet, but good damn balance. This is a well balanced skillet. Anyway, so
Yep,
yeah,
so there's
so
that.
all
Yeah.
that got now the there's a couple more stops, but I think the jeweler is going to be my last one. I want to go through the jewelry section. Uh, more holiday appropriate decorations for oral moss. Like the more traditional stuff that would have been done in some place like Cedar Grove. So anything craft like, because I may actually sit down and make some stuff.
Well, the scribe shops have all the paper you could possibly need.
Okay.
As you'll remember, which I'll state out because this is kind of a new thing. I'm putting together the bits of the world as we go. Cedar Grove has a few pretty specific traditions. They decorate homes inside and out with evergreen boughs, usually pines, or cedars, the really nice smelling ones, which they then drape with multicolored paper garlands and lights of various descriptions, dancing lights if you can get it, candles if not. And while there's always a good solid feast, there is generally some kind of sugar plum cake, which they serve in little bite-sized, kind of like Timbits, donut holes, kind of thing. Um,
Yeah, I'm going to be looking for that, but it's probably more for egg rough.
not
With my
not necessarily. You know a good
Oh,
baker, and you're going there tomorrow.
good point.
And if you wanted to place a special order,
In which case, okay. In which case, yeah, I'll go to the scribe shop and get what I can as far as the paper and for the crafty stuff.
yeah, you're for paper and adhesive, you're looking at like 5 copper. It's not.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then I will. I'm gonna.
If you want to make it a silver, there's also wrapping paper for the bits you didn't get wrapped.
Yes, good point. Uh, I'm not wrapping that mat, but I will look to see if I can get like a nice tie of some sort.
I'm gonna say that with that silver, you can also get a decent sized ribbon.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not looking to have it specially embroidered, so you're okay.
No, just hold it rolled. Okay. So then, okay, looking at the map, jewelry.
You can
Bakery,
probably hit Crestwin's on the way to the jewelry end
Yeah,
where you are.
yeah. I think that's exactly what I'm going to wind up doing. So I'm going to poke my head in there.
It's a Mel at the counter at the moment, and he's going, you're a day earlier than we expected. Nothing's
Well,
wrong, is there? Please tell me nothing's wrong, Corey. We'll have a
absolutely
fit."
nothing's wrong. I have a gift idea. And
Okay.
so involving baked goods,
I see.
and I'll give a description of uh, the cakes involved.
I think we can do that. I'll have to send Corey out for some ingredients, but we should have that ready for you by tea time tomorrow afternoon. I'm assuming you're going to want those boxed up and given as clandestinely as possible.
Yes, they're for Ava. It's a thing that is done in Cedar Grove, so
I see.
I thought it might be nice. Thank you very much.
You were over explaining, but it's
Uh,
nice to
it's
know.
what I do. I'm sorry. It's what I do. And so when I get, I'll just basically just stop in at the first jeweler that I can find that.
Fuck it, you're going to the same elven, half elven place.
Okay, I will.
And
Then I will
the half
step
elves
on
are
in.
the half elves are giggling even harder now. The elfin man has just given up. It's going, please ignore my children. Can I help you?
I will insight check them to see if I personally have any clue what they're giggling about. Let me move to where I can see.
Don't forget to switch disadvantage off.
I did 22.
Yeah, you do catch a couple of snippets of what words they manage to get out in between the giggling. That is something about the lady with the shiny gold hair, and she seems incredibly popular, but nothing is ever going to beat the cute from the Crestwood girl.
At which point I'm just okay.
The younger half elf woman is saying something about, I'm sure there's a good dozen or so mercenaries that have lost so many bets over that.
Okay, so sort of just doing a quick scan. So let me get the. I'm looking for a small chain that could connect from out of character. I forget how to say it.
Pince nez.
That I'm not going to be able to say that. To a piece on horns. So about trying to about that. I don't know if I can bring the person in that it's for, or if there's
Well,
some way to have it so that they could be connected. But,
him.
sorry.
Because you're probably not going to want it chained all the time, because when you're not wearing it, you're not going to want something with glass in it dangling. And this is clearly a gift, so you are probably not going to want to bring the individual in. So what I can do, I mean, it's a simple chain. What metal is is what we're attaching it to on either side?
Out of character, I don't remember. I think it was gold on the filigree, if I remember
No,
correctly.
no.
No?
Oscar can't work in gold. It was like bronze.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. So bronze on one side, and I, I, I don't know what Barnabas's glasses are made of.
We're actually waiting for an answer from you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, gold would be too soft to be wearing out in the field, just to say.
Yeah. No, they're made of steel.
Okay. Simple steel. Okay.
I'm probably going to want to match more with the decorative than the functional. For 2 gold, I can do an enchanted version that will attach and retract as necessary.
Okay, I can do that. The other piece I was looking for is something. Okay. Have you heard of Layman's Tiny Hut? It's basically a privacy sphere, but it's a large one. I'm thinking something a little smaller.
anything that complicated, you want to go to Egref.
Egref? Thought so. But it was worth to double check. Okay, so that's
At this point, the half elves are looking at you. They look at you for a minute, and then they just start laughing hysterically. And it's like, for what we're all fairly sure you have in mind, Egref.
thank you. Um,
Just give me 10 minutes for the enchantment on the chain, and
Okay.
does that for you.
Okay.
Comes out, and he doesn't even ask. He just wraps the damn thing.
Yeah. And I was looking for a few pieces potentially for myself as well. We've been tasked with
We know
as you-
what you've been tasked with,
yeah. I figured. Okay, well,
but you
uh,
started to say it anyway because you are a bard,
Yep.
although you are probably not the bard.
um, we're dealing with not just that one. There are others as well. Everything is very powerful, and I'm just trying to find anything that might help in general. Even a little bit is more than what I have now. I know that we're having to go through some mines, and I'm thinking, okay, well, caves, mines, that type of thing. Either things are falling on you, or you're falling into things, so I can deal with that.
Most of
Um,
it, you'll be in the Egref Mining Consortium's carts anyway.
Oh,
Most
okay.
of it, probably not all of it, but most of it. I miss the Crestwind woman. Will you just tell me what you want?
Do you have anything that can offer some kind of general protection?
You will probably want to be in Egref for that as well, because as you may have noticed, we have a bit of a run on that kind of thing.
I thought that might be the case, but it's also if you had something and I didn't ask, well, okay. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much. The chain is beautiful. Thank you. That should be everything. Thank you. Yep, that's everything. I shall take my leave. What a day. 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 Oy. Well, at least this I can leave in my pack. Okay. My luck. You know what? It's what time?
By this point, you're starting to get on toward the lake because you would have you did some window shopping and you've had to stop for lunch.
Okay, I think I have just enough time to swing by the Bravo's boast, drop some of this stuff off.
Isn't that where you're meeting anyway?
I thought we were meeting at the Book, Bow, and Dragon.
Oh, that too. Okay.
Well, actually, no. I'll just head straight there. I'll head to the Book, Bow, and Dragon to catch at least a little bit of the local music before.
Yeah, because you had said that was what you were going to spend your whole day doing, and nope.
Nope. Putting my foot in it took a lot of time. So yeah, so I'll head there and have at least a drink of nothing too terribly strong, just ale, just regular ale, just
Okay.
to be like, God damn, I'm bringing what a day.
Okay, we'll handle Hazel after break because I have a feeling that Barnabas's is going to take a lot less time because he doesn't know anybody overly well, but he knows the area better than almost anyone, with the exception of the two that we handled off screen, which is good because ours took like forever, but was worth it. So worth it. So Barnabas, now you've got this patch of dyed fur with when you ruffle the fur, you can actually see the ink in the skin underneath, but it matches up perfectly. So
he finds it very strange and not something he'd have ever considered getting for himself. But considering what it lets him do, it's cool. Now, he is kind of panicking because, like, oh, there's a holiday. I just met these people. Wait a minute. This is an adventuring party. He's going to go try to find, like, basically he'd be looking for literally, like, bedrolls for everybody, but, like, the best you can find, if possible.
Yeah,
Because if they're adventuring party, you're going to be camping somewhere where it's going to be crappy. You might have some comfort somehow.
Oh God, you haven't met the tent. They didn't tell you about the tent.
Nope.
No. To be fair, you guys were out. Hazel would have
Oh yeah.
bragged about the tent, and in fact,
tent?
probably had Mom and Mama enchant it so that there's bed enough for Barnabas in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
There's magic tent.
there is magic tent.
There's magic
Well,
tent.
good.
So he thinks to himself, bedrolls, crappy magic tent with
Magic
with
tent.
wood floor and beds. Right. This is the point at which you will remember, because I'm kind, that you're also going back to Egref, and you can turn around to Remy and girlfriend who've known them longer and go, help me.
That will be the plan.
Okay. So yeah, so he's basically gonna run around the market until he's like, wait, I know someone who knows these people better. I can breathe now.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do with the rest of the, because it's mostly afternoon, so
Yeah.
just like food, browse.
Food, browse, see if anything catches his eye. Otherwise, if everyone seemed to be going to, what was it?
We're given that I'm pretty sure, given my current state, that Ethan remembers better than I do. Ending at the Book, Bow and Dragon, which is the
Yeah.
pub you guys went to. So you'll probably run into Darvin there, because you guys are going to be the first two that turn up, I think, because Ava's having to pick up sketches that she had last minute. She wanted to give them as much time as possible to do. Clarity is going to need to be pried out of the library with a crowbar again. Remy and Alice are having way too much fun at the moment to cut it short. And Froseth is going to be Froseth's going to be the last, because he was the one who came in last of all and spending most of the day doing this. So yeah, for the first few minutes, yeah, when Darvin walks into the Book, Bow and Dragon with his to go and get his ale, you can't miss Barnabas. Well, no, you would have walked in, because he would have come in before you did, because he had to cut his shopping short because he knew nobody. And of course, there's somebody you can ask as well.
Long day.
Yeah. I am so not good with words unless I can write them down first.
Well, this might make you feel better. I almost spent a whole lot of money on gifts for people going, man, we could get some good bedrolls. And then like, oh, wait, they were bragging about that tent.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, I have no idea what to get anyone, because I've met you, 2 weeks ago now?
It's less than that. It's
Mhm.
probably about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a week or so. I mean,
Yeah, but what a week. Oi. But yeah, it's like that. Yeah, no, I can give you some ideas, and hell, I can even give you some ideas for myself even. I mean,
I would greatly appreciate it.
sure, no sweat. Well, I'll grab us a couple glasses, a couple of. Wait, how long? If you've been here before me, you probably already have some ale out of character, right? Probably already got some ale.
He has, yeah, he's got some. It's about half a glass left.
All right, then,
He's drinking it slowly.
yeah.
And they gave him a mug commensurate to his size.
Oh, so yeah, okay, yeah, half a glass with a capital G. Okay, okay. In which case, yeah, I'll get up, get a pitcher and a mug for myself, and bring it over. Top Barnabas off, and we'll start going back and forth about ideas and such.
And we'll handle any of what you want to do in character with that after the break, because we're at about that time. So we'll see you in 5 minutes for what Hazel is getting up to. back in Belarus, back in Market, and rewinding just a little bit more. One last time for Hazel. Once she's had her tattoo, what's she gonna do?
Would I have had enough time to catch Remy and Alice before they went off on their...
Probably.
I'm going to go up to Alice.
And she just give me a sec.
Remy looks at Hazel.
I'm not going to interrupt for more than a few seconds. I'm just needing a little bit of extra funds for some material components for a spell.
Okay, how much?
I think if I understood what because that's just something I would have gotten with the whole morning prayers thing. Diamond of about 500 gold.
I think I can about swing that. It's Can I ask why? That's more than the usual revivify diamond, or is this just lots more of
This
them?
is the next stage. I think I'm finally at that point where I can channel that amount of divine energy
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably
without burning out.
yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling that some of the party funds are gonna get chucked at me for the next little while, because that would normally be a party funds thing, but I don't mind. It's fine. Digs out and just that is 50 platinum. Use it in good health.
Thank you. Have fun. And I'm going to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah, so that expression says both buy and go away.
Nice.
Yeah, Hazel figured Remy would be a little bit snarky after everybody else has been
Yeah,
turning
but that's
up.
the thing. Remy can be snarky without saying a damn word. It's great.
Yep, and okay, first thing I'm going to do after this cavalcade of hilarity I'm gonna head to Sweetwater and Sisters.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I want to know what we left poor Edvar to deal with, and help if possible.
Well, currently there is a strip of yellow across the door, which is
Oh,
hanging
no.
off one of its hinges. And instead of, police line do not cross, it's just closed. But you do see beyond that Edvar sweeping. The hole in the floor is no longer a hole in the floor, but there's glitter and broken glass and bits of those Furby things.
Oh God, the acid ones.
And there is a hole in the ceiling where the
Jesus
trap,
Christ,
where something went wrong with the trap door, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks up at you and goes, "No, not you again."
Here to offer help in fixing stuff up.
This is my calming down, because after this, I'm doing this as a displacement activity while I try to figure out whether I'm going to bail my adopted sister out of jail. I mean, I am, because she's family, but part of me kind of wants to leave her in there for about a week, but then again, I remember the last time, and I think she drove like 4 of the personal guard crazy or something, I don't know. She sings badly. She sings "This Is the Song That Never Ends"
Oh no.
badly.
God. Oh dear, I remember that. I remember a little bit of that from home. I couldn't want to hear that for literally a week on end. I would go mad.
I appreciate you wanting to be helpful, but I just want to clean up my shop.
All right. Best of luck, okay?
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm gonna leave him to that because he's much as I want to help, he's expressed the need to just people go away.
Well, can you blame him?
No, I
It
cannot.
really, it
It's
really,
just a
it really does.
freaking balloon.
It really does look like explodey Furby Warzone in there. So basically, Hazel's wise enough to put together a few pieces. What happened was when the guard came for Allie, she sent out the fuzzy army in her
That
defense.
Oh, God.
caused as much havoc as it usually does, and she got arrested even harder.
And to be fair, she probably would have just been fined if she hadn't resisted arrest with the fuzzy army.
Yup. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get the hell out of his way and start by looking for anywhere selling an appropriate diamond.
There's a few different jewelry shops. You miss Ava, Darvin, and Remy and Alice, given that you've taken a bit of a detour, but while that particular shop doesn't sell raw gems anyway, you probably do hear through the door hysterical laughter and a certain amount of "if you two don't stop, I'm going to pull out a silence charm."
Just keep walking, do not interact with the clear cavalcade of chaos that may or may not have happened in there. I have a sinking feeling that may have been a Darwin. Love you, man. I fucking adore you. Great.
Anyway.
Love you too.
Gonna continue on
Yeah,
towards
and a few doors down, you do find some place that sells raw diamonds, and you can pick up one. You do get some looks when you ask for a diamond that size, and just dump 50 platinum on the table. But hey,
I just profusely thank them and leave as swiftly as possible to not cause further spiraling on my part. Now to the main market of Adventurers Kit to look for strength enhancing things. I'm thinking it's probably going to wind up being an aggro situation again, but it doesn't hurt to at the very least look, and if I stumble across anything else in the meantime, perfect.
yeah. I mean, is there anything else in particular you're interested in stumbling on? Because any strength enhancing things you will get, we are sold out.
Mm-hmm. Given that's the order of the day. I guess this is going to take me a few seconds to redeploy the list and just sort of give it a once over.
Okay.
Could I have swung by the bakery as well at some point?
Yes. So well, you can do that while Smeagol's looking. So. Then you do get Amel's.
Hi.
I'm going to say that this is after Darvin has gone in. So-
Yeah.
Oh.
That's fine.
Well, that's two of you now. Okay.
Oh. Sorry to bother you. It won't take just a minute. I was hoping you might give me a few pointers as to gifts for Remy, because she's, as you probably know, she's not necessarily the most talkative, so it's a little hard to tell what she likes or not.
Yes, Remy the Reticent was with the knight name we gave her. She didn't exactly say anything about it, as she doesn't, but I'm fairly sure I caught her smiling. So, we were going to save this for the tea, but since you're here and you're the one who thought to ask, he goes into the back, comes out with a folded piece of parchment. We have one of these for each of you. It is the uh, it's the cheat notes to Remy.
Sounds exactly what I need. Thank you very much.
Well, now I want to know what that says.
To be fair, at least half of it you would have to fill in if I thought for 10 seconds that you'd thought about it at all. But from the bits and pieces that I've picked up over Remy's time with the group, she does tend towards the simple. You know,
The simple and practical.
for food, it's usually the solid darker meats. Very little in the way of frou-frou. Not hugely overly spiced, but she doesn't mind a little bit of kick. Dessert, basically chocolate underlined. Um, yeah, she does like the occasional cute thing, but do not make a big deal of it.
Mm-hmm. The opposite of me, then, basically.
Something very much like that. Simple clothes. We do owe 10 gold to anyone who can make her wear a dress. Alice's already won that one, technically.
Well, this sounds perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there's actually a list of the types of chocolates that she likes that can be picked up over at Sugar and Spice, the sweets and sundries shop down the block.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Corey just peeked at every single parcel of candy she brought home and took a running tally of the ones Remy got the most of and listed them in order from most to least, top 10 kind of thing. Because Corey does that kind of thing.
I mean, it's a good way to do it. Narrows it down.
Mm.
Well, I shall let you get back to your business. Thank you
Yeah,
very
but
much.
to be fair, by the time Ava's there, it's probably the muffin ragamuffins have turned up for the day olds.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of surrounded by kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you wanted to do anything with the list you had on hand.
Well, I can do that after Smeagol's done his bit.
Well, I figured yours was going to be fairly short, and it gives him another
Yeah.
couple of minutes
Well,
to
right.
look
Well,
through.
I'll
So
swing by. Probably gets a little assortment of various fancy fun chocolates, maybe.
yeah, I mean, like I say, you have the list of the ones that she likes most, and when you're picking them out of the pick and mix, you do have the elderly proprietor going. Ah, I think I know who those are for. We've
I
done
think
a
you're
couple
probably
of
right.
we've done a couple of new ones along that theme since she was last here, so
Oh,
you might want to try these. It's sort of uh, maple whiskey filling kind of thing. Try one. I mean, it really is just this kind of smoked aged whiskey flavor with a kind of a almost a maple caramel kind of center.
Shit, I think I want to try to find one of those in real life.
Mm.
That's amazing. Sorry.
I think she loves these. Yes, I'll grab a few.
Yeah, and is this just random gifting or special gifting? Because we can
More or less.
if it's special gifting, we can make a box.
I would like that, please.
And yeah, they set up like the box of chocolate box thing, and, tied up with ribbon and.
Thank you very much. How much would that run?
That depending on the size, we'll call it 3 silver because it's a
Okay.
fairly fancy assortment. but it still is just chocolates, and they're easier to find here than elsewise.
Fair enough.
Okay, back to Hazel.
Okay. Primary course of things to look for would be anything that would constitute as additional patches that I could apply, that I could integrate into the robe of useful items I've still got.
That's something else you're gonna want to have done in Egref. That's an Egref Tailor thing.
Yep, and the remaining items that I've looked up are probably also entirely Egref stuff, so yeah, that's just gonna be me after wandering around, just sort of browsing and looking at the various items. I'm gonna take a brief moment to consider, since I've already been by there once before. They found out, thanks as a result of that, just trying to consider, would it be remotely sensible to even think of going by the Steel Singer's return, just to see what they've been up to since.
Why?
Morbid curiosity at this point.
Yeah. You're a wise person. All they're going to do is try to mug you for your items again.
Thinking, yeah, they're just gonna go for the stuff.
They're going to ask all kinds of awkward questions about, have you spoken to the Steel Singer? Has she made anything new? Is she coming back? Do you really want to answer any of this?
Yep. Nope. Gonna go through one more browsing session, just seeing if there's anything in the wands assortment. Anywhere from a wand of binding to a anywhere from a wand of secrets to a wand of binding.
Now we roll the Hand of Fate. And the Hand of Fate gives you a 4. Nope.
Can't find it. Heading to the Bookbone Dragon.
So yeah, you will come in on Barnabas and Darvin, with Darvin trying to explain what he thinks people might like. Because, again, you've got a Minotaur sitting at a table. This is not easily missed.
Yeah. Both of us probably leaning over the ale, which was just like, we look like we're having this really in-depth conversation, but we're talking about, like, no. They like this stuff, and it's that.
Can I try to sneak up behind them?
Stealth. What's everybody's passive perception?
Beats me for 13.
It'll be below your skills, Brian.
That's what I'm looking for. 1 second here. 12 beats me.
So yeah, you sneak up behind them around about the point where Darvin is going, and yeah, no, all I've really got with Remy is ale, whiskey, chocolate. That's all I've got.
Hello, boys.
And this out of nowhere.
Ah,
The one point in the conversation I actually set the mug down. Thank you for waiting until then. Jeez.
don't do that. Please don't do that. Oh.
So, how have your adventures in town been?
Darvin gives her that look.
I've been fine. He's had a day.
Give me about another 2 or 3 slugs of this, and I'll find out you've gotten the leather out of my mouth.
Fair enough. In fact, that actually gives me enough time to do something I just realized I'd walked in here before fully remembering. Clarity is going to be in that library. I'm going to have to go pry her out with a crowbar at minimum, possibly the axe if I need to, because this thing makes one hell of a pry bar given its size.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go fetch her.
Would you want some assistance?
Barnabas? Yeah, come with. I'm going to need someone of sufficient strength.
Darwin just sort of puts his hand up. I'll make sure it doesn't go anywhere.
We love you too, Darvin. I'm going to go over hug him before we go attempt to fetch our mystically inclined tiefling.
Yes,
So-
just so Darvin is not left entirely by himself. As Froseth is approaching the book, bow, and dragon,
I'd have probably
he's
walked in
got
around
he's got his tattoos. It's still feeling a little but they were used to him by that point, so it was a little faster than he'd expected, and he sees Hazel and Barnabas heading out of the book, bow, and dragon, looking very purposeful, or Hazel is at least.
So why do you need to drag her out of a library?
If she goes into one, the likelihood of her coming out decreases the longer she's in there.
Ah.
She
Alright.
Oh
just
my god, it's
starts reading,
exponential.
and
I
the
love it.
stacks just kind of happen.
And Froseth
that
hears
library-
that as they walk by.
So
And that library is a quasi-liminal space, so you can just get lost in there and never come out.
oh. Okay. I've run into one or two libraries like that in my time. So she'll just like ignore food and other things and just keep going.
Books and cute things. Those are her driving forces.
Okay.
Hazel will remember. Also, Sweet Tooth.
Though, we're going to need to stop somewhere that produces sweets.
You can probably stop by Sugar and Spice on your way to the library.
Oh, yeah. And I'm probably going to... I'm guessing, has Clarity gone there a lot of times
Well,
for...
we don't know because here we go.
Like,
Wait for it to load back in. Ow. Ow. While we're waiting for that to go on, yeah, Froseth goes into the book, bow, and dragon. He'll find Darvin at the table.
Well, I've
Looking-
joined them about by that point,
Yeah.
so-
You probably missed Hazel and Barnabas, but you do see, Froseth ahead of you and Darvin at the table, and Darvin doing that I've had a day thing. And Froseth says nothing.
Sits down, looks, acknowledges the look, but
I love that so much. He's like, nope.
Just
not
looks
doing
up
it.
at Froseth, knowing full well Froseth ain't gonna say nothing. Just it's
And
been a-
yeah, and Ava joins them at about that point.
Oh, hey.
Pat, pat.
Nobody's asking him now. They basically just know Darvin did a Darvin.
I'm not dead, and neither is anyone else. And I'm not going to turn into anything. So it's been a good. It's been a success. It's just been a day.
okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, sorry, Smeagol, you were asking something
So,
that I may
would
need
the-
Lydia's input.
Would this sweet shop have been visited by Clarity regularly enough that she has a usual...
I think she's frozen again.
Yeah, it looks like she's got...
Ah, there we go. Moving.
Okay, there it goes.
Okay, you are moving. So yes, have
It took a second for it to catch up.
yeah. While you were in Belarus, did you visit the sweet shop often? And she's frozen again.
It's lagging. It's like getting a little
Ah.
bit of a delay. I can still see her perfectly fine, but it's like it stops and then continues.
Yeah, things we're not hearing her.
Yeah, we're not hearing anything is the problem.
Oh, that sped to catch up. Or
Typing.
Now we're hearing typing.
I'm hearing more drumming than
Ha-
typing.
It's really choppy. Let me.
Yep. It's getting a little bit better. Would I, in the process of walking to the speech shop and then further into the library, hear any rumors regarding Alice, Ava, Darvin, and company spinning up?
There's been a certain amount of the bard and the paladin from that ballad, and no details, but a lot of that was adorable. Um, the something about the bard is lucky that the postmistress did not turn him into a cockroach.
Oh, good God. No details, just this gaggle is incredibly cute, and Darvin is lucky he didn't get turned into a roach.
And kid going, but basically something to the order of trust the Crestwinds to have a cheat sheet on what their daughter likes.
And I'm just, as we're passing, just kind of looking. Oh, no, I'll figure this out later. Is Barnabas? I guarantee you when we get back, there's going to be some ridiculous conversation happening, and we're going to have to ask a lot of questions.
In any case, to let you guys have something to do meantime, I'm gonna say that yeah, Lindira's Clarity's been to Sugar and Spice a few times, and you know what kinds of things she likes anyway, Hazel. So
Yeah,
you can pick up like a I don't know, 1 silver assortment of nicenesses, and meanwhile we can have Darvin, Froseth, and Ava have a conversation. Which I'm assuming somewhere in the middle of Remy and Alice will eventually wander in.
Remy looks very happy.
Likewise. And since it's Froseth and Ava with a really good passive perception, they're the ones that once these two sit down, but particularly on Alice because she is one of those people who talks with her hands a lot.
Oh yeah.
For her, basically matched rings on Alice, third finger of the, middle finger of the right hand. For Remy, ring finger of the right hand. Matched steel rings with blue stones that look like a dragon's eye, and the whole thing is made to look like dragon's teeth. But Ava finally understands what they were giggling about.
I just give a little smile and exchange a glance with Froseth.
And Darvin is too busy
Just raise the mug occasionally and just staring at it. Just
It's you didn't have anywhere near as good a day as we did.
I'm not going to turn into anything, and no one died, and I'm not dead. So it's been a successful, if not very. Ooh, yeah, I ate my shoe.
Suddenly I
A lot.
remember why we don't leave these people alone.
Well, I had to manage at least one day.
Hey, like I said, I'm not going to turn in anything yet.
Yep. So you managed.
The night is still young.
You two look like you had fun though.
Yeah, it was. Fun,
Oh,
fun, productive, all that good stuff.
Mhm.
good. You might know already. There's probably going to be a bit of gossip about you around that from that jeweler's.
Yeah, this does not surprise me.
You're very amused by something related to.
Well, let's face it. There's a romantic bardic ballad. This is just gonna
Mhm.
add fuel to the fire, or whatever.
That is true. That is very true.
You know, as far as we can tell, though, no one was eavesdropping in market yet.
Hopefully.
I said yet. These things take a minute. Besides, I ain't ashamed of shit.
The
She
shame.
gives you a nudge. I know, I get it. I'm allowed to tease.
Okay, that exchange finally gets a smirk and a out of Tarvin into the mug of ale, but still just
So where's the other three?
Barnabas and Hazel went to retrieve Clarity from the library.
You don't know that. You
Oh, sorry. I was off.
Froseth knows that. Darvin knows that.
they Barnabas and Hazel went to pry Clarity out of the library with a crowbar and or with the axe. I wasn't sure if we had a crowbar, but I figured if we need one, they can probably find one on the
I
way.
did say we should invest in one because that is not what that axe is supposed to do.
I had the same thought.
I was going to say, I think that the idea of a crowbar was mentioned.
Yeah, so meantime, Hazel and Barnabas have picked up a silver's worth of Clarity's favorite bits and pieces from Sugar and Spice, which I said just because that Clarity'd been to a couple of times during her stay. She's not exactly hard to miss. And have turned up at the library, up at the front desk. The half-elf gentleman looks up and goes, "Oh, I remember you.
Hello.
You came with the bard." Looks up at Barnabas. Please say you can talk.
Of course I can talk.
That's not an of course in our world, but thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not feral. I'm. Yeah.
You did look a little too polite, clothed for that. So, but I have to be sure. We get weird things in here.
It's quite all right. No offense taken.
How can I help you?
We are here to retrieve our friend, the tiefling. My name is Clarity.
Yes, I do remember her. We can actually send her. Library companion to fetch her. It tends to be easier than sending people because people's library companions can actually locate them in the library, whereas we have to go by where we last saw them heading, and you know what that's like in a place like this.
Mm-hmm. If you need a lure, I'm going to hold up the box of sweeties.
Well, in your case, it was more a bag. The only reason Ava got a
Bag.
box was because it was fancy.
Yeah, right. Held up the bag. If you need a lure, because she might be up to her eyeballs in them.
And just rummages around and taps a crystal. He gives a mutter, and yeah, Clarity has a fairy dragon assistant because it had to be cute something with her because that is, and all of a sudden the I'm gonna say yellow berry dragon that helps her is all of a sudden a weight on her head. Pweet! Looks at her sort of upside down. Hello. You have friends. You have a half elf and a non-feral minotaur and a bag of sweeties waiting for you.
Oh, what time is it?
I don't tell time very well, but it's around about dinner time.
Right. Oh, okay. And I stow away what I've been working on and the book that I've been looking at and hide it away. And
Well, it's going to get shelved for you anyway, so.
Okay, but being self-conscious, I stow it somewhere.
That's fine.
And
that's fine. It's just
up,
not
like,
going
a
to
few of
stay
the
there
old
very
books.
long. But
right. I pick up a couple books that I had also looked at. Like, there's one on the Feywild, and then there's one on like dimensional stuff, and then I carry it out with me, and I'm like, how long can I borrow some of these?
Okay, the Feywild one you can have for a month before it comes back to us. The dimensional stuff you can have for about a week. That's an older book, so.
So do Barnabas and I get to have a good see this happening?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
I mean, Hazel at the very least, given what she knows, can probably put together what's going on here.
Yeah, it's
Stowing it
almost
away and
steam coming out of ears and rattle, clunk.
Yeah, they do the magical checkout thing, but yeah, and Hazel's doing they're still holding up the bag of sweets, probably.
What? The hair's starting to Ghibli.
If you're going to make that noise again, please leave my library. Please make her leave my library. She's going to make that noise.
All right. Come on. What's with you?
And
Once we finally exit, there's just a hypersonic.
What?
I believe.
Why are you?
What are you poking at the
Just
Feywild for?
Why not? Just some light reading.
Insight check. Oh my fucking god, insight check.
Deception check from Clarity.
26.
Whoa.
10.
No, you know exactly what she's planning to do. She is planning to talk to one or both of Nye's old patrons. Particularly when you add in the dimensional shit.
Those two are a nightmare. They kidnapped us.
Can we talk about this later? When we're around the other group?
We are talking about this.
Right. And when we're back with the group.
We are definitely talking about this.
And at that point, Barnabas reaches over, grabs Hazel by the back of the scruff of the neck, and grabs Clarity by the back of the scruff of the neck. Hup! And we're going.
Given his strength, I'm gonna give him that for at least down the library steps.
We're just getting hauled away.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, you're kind of herded with Hazel doing. But by the time you get back, Barnabas is less grabbing by scruff and just herding. For once, it's the cow man doing the herding.
Yeah, there's very little actual resistance, just sort of an absolutely like.
Yeah, there's something going on here. We're going to have this with everybody around because I don't want to be even more confused than I already am. Cool. Let's go.
Yeah, but by the time you guys get back to the Book, Bow and Dragon, which is not so much a food place, by the way. So if you guys want dinner, there may have to be an elsewhere. But you're sharing a pitcher of ale when Meebling, Ghibli, Studio Ghibli Herring, Hazel, and I have to explain this now, looking Clarity, get nudged into the bar by slightly confused but determined looking Barnabas.
I'm kicking my feet a little.
Now.
Oh boy.
Now, come on.
Oh, somebody's apparently having a day not potentially worse than mine.
I'm having an evening.
Points.
I'm just kind of continuing to squawk. Thankfully, I haven't got hypersonic again.
Yes.
Okay, do we need to go and get you 3 stuffed with food?
I wouldn't mind, but
I
this
I'm-
one,
mean, food's great.
I'm ailed up
I-
enough that I'm okay now finally.
And from the color of Clarity's cloak, there's this sort of scrabble, and then pink.
Oink.
Sapphire.
Oh, where'd that come from?
Oh, yeah. That's Sapphire. Or almost came a little early for Clarity.
Oh, adorable.
It's Darwin's present
Oh,
for me.
Yeah, I didn't really think that through very well.
Okay.
I couldn't really hold on to it until Oromus, so
Yeah, Barnabas has put you down by this point.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And actually, Sapphire actually looks at Barnabas and because it's one of the ones with the really stubby little legs and just a little stubby paw just in Barnabas's direction.
No.
If
Wiggle,
if
wiggle,
if
wiggle,
if
wiggle.
had claws, there would be, but no.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
pat, pat, pat.
But can't even reach, so it's just
Can't even reach the pawing air. I love it.
and then just sits back down in Clarity's hood, basically.
Very self-satisfied little plush kitty.
Let's go get something to eat and we'll have a talk.
Yes, it seems.
And I'm just handing Clarity the bag of sweeties.
I'm sure.
I
more...
mean, dinner.
yeah, but
I
have
know,
those anyway.
I'm just giving this to you now,
Okay, thank you.
or else I'm gonna forget while I keep waving them around and probably smack someone with them by accident. I don't need crockery situation to happen with sweets.
Okay.
Probably be less damaging, but okay. Anyway.
I was gonna say, at least it wouldn't break.
Yeah, I'm thinking if we
You
wanna,
don't know how klutzy I am.
you know, I'm
Sorry.
thinking. No, it's fine. I'm just thinking to myself that if we want to have food and a conversation, we probably don't want to have the food at the Bravos boast just because it's full
Yeah, put on
and
something quiet.
harder to talk over people. I mean, I know like 2 places to eat, and I had lunch at one, but it's the kind of place Hazel might like, so I don't know. Basically, it's this place where there's noodles.
I can do oodles of noodles.
There's also a place that does like skewers of meat and veggies and stuff, which is a bit more of a sit down thing and more to the point. Ree and I haven't already been there for lunch.
Oh, okay. That would work too.
But Hazel, you need to try the noodle place at some point.
Yeah.
I had the spiciest of spicy soups.
Did it at all come close to the
No, but
stuff in home?
very little does. So, but it was still
Fair
good.
point.
Anyway, come on. And yeah,
Onwards.
what you effectively have is kind of a kebab house, really. And, you know, the smell is largely roasting things. And they find you a table, and this is kind of a midway point between the restaurants of Egref and the inns you guys are used to. There is a menu which is mostly, you know, what kinds of meat do you want? What kind of what kind of veg do you want? And do you want rice or potato as your side? And you send somebody up with order and money, and they bring thing to table. But there is actually a menu. It is not just like it or lump it. So assuming everybody has what everybody wants, and like again, dinner for 8 people, with ale, you're looking at approximately a gold. So that can probably come out of party funds, and while waiting for food, Alice does say, just so that everybody's aware, apparently 1 minute is not the limit for I guess it's not really revivify anymore, because revivify is your soul hasn't really left yet.
Yep. Uh, I've finally become able to channel enough divine energy to
Call back the soul properly instead of just going, yep.
instead of just preventing you from leaving.
What you
Huh.
did with Alice were a little earlier than you were supposed to.
I think a lot
Yeah,
earlier than she was supposed to, but yeah.
because if I did that again before, well, now I would have become akin to a smoking cinder.
Yeah, now it's not deadly, just expensive.
Uh-huh. But yeah, I can, beyond just in the immediacy of combat, pull you back.
But
That's good to know.
But given the conversation you and I were having, it still needs the original body, as far as I can understand. The one I was telling you about is more costly, yet doesn't need the body as long as you have what you've got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was more extreme situation.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's something that needs to be discussed, because we did promise we were going to say the thing. So before we get into why Hazel was squawking at Clarity, let me just say this. Ree and I, among other things, had a talk today about what happens to me, more to the point, to the whole divine spark that makes me what I am, if I get tainted by that black shit, if it gets past my defenses, or if they just aren't there. It's bad. I mean, Azamar can fall, that happens, but it feeding on the anything of the divine makes it more than just falling. So, I mean, my personality would still be stuck in there. It probably wouldn't last very long, and I'd go very, very crazy, very, very fast, but the divine bits of me would come pretty drastically to the fore in ways that my essential humanity don't let happen. It can't happen, guys. Cannot happen.
We knew that. Already.
Yeah, but now we've got an actual concrete reason, and not just I don't want it to happen. If it looks like it's even about to happen, because that's the thing, it doesn't only touch the body, it touches the soul. So even if you release the soul from the tainted body, the soul's still damaged. The soul's still tainted. So, if I die and they do nasty tainting shit to my body, that's one thing you can theoretically, and at not too inconsiderable cost, to bring me back in a body that's not tainted. That can happen. Like I say, technically. But I die before that shit gets anywhere near tainting me. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. We're all agreed. Now, plates are brought back in, so she pauses the conversation when plates are there and waiter is no longer. Hazel, why are you making that noise?
So just slowly, still gibbling out, turn to Clarity. Feywild. Patrons.
Remy also looks very pointedly to Clarity.
The same ones that helped and kidnapped us before, if
Yeah.
I'm hazarding any sort of a guess.
And
Well, Harold visited us recently, remember?
You're clearly not connecting dots here. They saved Aaron because of a
oh,
deal Aaron made.
mm-hmm.
And
You
now
don't
they're
see an
looking-
issue with the potential for making further deals with them on behalf of.
Saving other people.
Remembering precisely what I said earlier. I trust Clarity.
Remy opens her mouth
So-
and then closes her mouth.
I trust Clarity,
no.
and that hasn't changed. That's why I'm wondering. Yeah, and
This, I guess it just sounds like more than just a favor that's happening here.
well, yeah, but again,
It's not Clarity that we don't trust, it's them.
Hmm.
That's the issue. Her, I trust completely. If she can figure out a way to get stuff from them without locking herself into some crazy deal where she has to give up something she cares about, like the person she probably wants them to retrieve.
I don't think they'd bother doing that. That's not. You see, that's not my issue. Because it for amusement, whether whimsy or chaos, the more people you have in your life that you can be whimsical or chaotic with, the more fun you're gonna have. It's everything else. Dealing with, as far as I know anyway, dealing with Fae, Archfey in particular, is very different than dealing with demons. Demons like contracts, rules, bindings. Archfey not so much.
They like
Fiends are all about
waking up Draco
either.
witches.
Sorry, what was
And-
that?
They like waking up Draco witches and kidnapping us for tournaments.
They like bending the rules to their whim.
I honestly don't think it's so much the bending the rules to their whim. I just don't think they really understand rules that much.
Whereas demons and devils will have either law or punching. Fae
Have whimsy or chaos.
Whimsy or chaos. They'll run they don't operate on morality at all. It's what amuses, if I recall it all correctly.
But we don't know how Clarity is going to approach this, and we haven't given her a chance to explain. Sorry.
Mhm.
We worry about you. That's all.
I understand. May I speak?
Of course. That's
Please.
why I stopped this.
Yeah, as I was spiraling. Thank you.
So, I don't know. I know a lot of you understand my situation. Some of you might not. Barnabas certainly not. But
I've heard. Darwin basically filled me in on stuff.
okay. But for Ava, I don't know how much you know.
Not much, I don't believe.
So, for context, I've been looking for my brother for several years now. He was taken, and I was blamed for it. And I want to know what happened to him. I discovered a few months ago that he is being held somewhere, I don't know where, being probably tortured, I don't know how. And to give the full impact of what he means to me, he is, though he is not related to me by blood, because he is human and he's from an adopted family, he is quite possibly one of the most important people in my life. He was the first person to ever make me feel like it wasn't so bad to be me. Quick story. When I was about 11. I had lived with the Thatchers for a while, and we lived in a small, couldn't even call it a town really, but everyone there looked at me like I was a demon, like I was a devil, looked at me as if I was doing something wrong just by existing. And it had gotten to a point where I went to my foster father's shed, and he has tools. He's a thatcher. And I took one of his saws, and I started hacking, and I would point to a notch on one of my horns, started sawing at one of my horns. And Henry, my brother, he found me, and he stopped me. He said, Yen, because my name is Prien, but he never called me that. He called me Yen or Pri. Said, Yen, what are you doing? And I said, I hate my horns. I hate them. I want them gone. And he said, he didn't stop me exactly, but he said, please don't. I like your horns. And that was the first time I ever thought, well, if someone I love this much, likes me this much, then maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I can be likable. And I don't think that I could be the person I am today without him. So if there is a way for me to get him back today or sometime now-ish, then why would I not take that chance? It's inconceivable to me that any price would be too much.
I do get that.
And I am not in a position where I'm like Erin was, where he was desperate for it. It's important to me, but I'm not I'm not in a situation where I'm under duress. This is not me being tortured until some things start whispering in my ears. I am taking considerations, and I've written a contract.
I would be careful about that. Like I say, they don't
necessarily follow them.
well, it's not that they don't necessarily follow them. I'm more concerned about how they would look at anything that solid. But if that's how you want to approach it, that's not the bit I want to say anyway, because you're going to handle it how you're going to handle it. And that's, if I was ever having to make any kind of deal, that's not where I'd go first. But what I will say is that we've seen where those kinds of deals can go. And your Henry stopped you from cutting off your horns to spite your head. Would he want you to metaphorically do that? I'm not saying that to make you stop. I'm saying that to keep it in mind.
I know he wouldn't want me to, but I don't.
I get it.
It's been this long, and he's already been through so much. What's this in comparison to him having his freedom?
You lose yours.
This isn't me doing something out of hatred of myself. This is love of him, love for myself.
Like I say,
I don't know.
And what happens if they say if there's a contract, we're not signing it, we're not doing it? And I don't know that they're going to do that, but what if that makes them less kindly disposed towards you? I mean, I don't. I know that Lord Misrule is, pardon me, but is a complete jackass. He was the one who had us waking the Dracolich. He was the one largely responsible for us being in that tourney. He's a jackass, so if you're dealing with him, it's a necessary precaution, but it's also likely to piss him off. Uh, Lady Whimsy, I know less about, but she's always been, from what I've caught around the outside edges, the more helpful without having been asked. And on the one hand, she might understand your need for the structure, but on the other hand, she might think, what have I done to make you mistrust me this much? And if you're dealing with both of them, then all bets are off. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
I don't know if you thought of this or not. I really don't. So this is me bringing up all the variables, because you're gonna do it no matter what I say. I get that, and I respect your decision. I just want you to be as informed as possible.
that's
I
fine.
guess the reason I kind of freaked out a little is because I was worried of us being locked out of the loop on that sort of thing.
Well,
You know, worry.
I know. And but I want to make sure it's not that I don't, let me see. Well, for one, the Herald has offered me to make a deal only with Her Majesty. So that's some reassurance. But I think if I explain, obviously they're unpredictable, but I do intend to explain that this contract is not so much so for out of distrust in a relationship, but to know the terms of it. Because when I need a finite end to it, I need terms and agreements.
Okay, the finite end is a problem. The only reason I say
I
this
just
is
want.
I get it, but Warlock pacts don't work that way. They end when you do.
If she wants to change, if she wants to end it, and if she wants to change those terms, then that's fine. It's negotiable.
I mean, for no
But-
other reason than, they'll we've seen them take powers or restrict them out of punishment, but that's temporary, that's short term. Imagine after however many years you're suddenly without that. What does that do to you?
I'm fine with losing power.
Yeah, they might not be. I imagine it's harder the more ingrained that power is into you.
Maybe.
I mean, Ree, you were saying earlier today about some of your experiences that may or may not be linked to your pact. Do we want to tell about this? Because I don't know if it's just a celestial thing or if it's an all the way around warlock thing, because it's not like we could ask Aaron.
Oh, it's hard to tell what is and isn't a unique thing for my circumstances, but yes, there's some kind of connection between myself and the celestial realm that it's hard to tell exactly which parts of that are because of Tritherian, which parts of that are because of Zerial, and which parts are because of all these two powers intertwining. But it's
But in all fairness, you weren't experiencing any of it in that way while it was just Tritherian, or it wouldn't have freaked you out so badly when it started. In so far
that
as
is
it
true.
freaked you out, because it's you. You don't freak out much, often.
But yes, these aren't temporary things, and it's not your motivation that anyone's going to question clarity.
I mean, what sorts of things was it that, well, freaked out for you? What were those things?
I don't know about those freaking out exactly, but just
It's the only
something
term I had,
strange.
Ray.
No, I understand. It's just an adjustment, and I'm not. A lot of this is something that I'm not usually sure what it means or what it will mean in the future, and with what we've been called to do, it's usually not easy to worry about the future.
But to answer the question that you actually asked, she's been dreaming of or on the celestial plane lately in a way that suggests that the celestial plane is where her spirit calls home now. Because it's where her patron calls home. And again, I don't know if that's because just because it's a celestial or because that's how the Warlock pack works. I don't know. I'm not one. I know that the celestial plane is my spirit's home, but that's because my spirit was technically born there. So that's an entirely different thing. But I'm just saying I don't know how the pact works, and trying to make an agreement where you don't know the mechanics. I'm sure you'll be appropriately flexible, but understand that it's not something you can say 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and I'm done. Because however it happens, they're feeding you power, and that's not just a dump it on your head physically. That comes through you, that comes through your spirit, your soul. It's not like wizardry, it's not mathematics and saying the right words and studying the right things and having the right components
I
alone.
understand.
It's hard to know whether you do. Well, you talk about the words, you talk about the terms, you talk about the length of it. Remember, we're not in your head. We don't know what you're thinking. And I think that's why we worry, because we care. I haven't known you very long, but I do not want anything bad to happen to you. I like you.
I like you too.
You are infinitely more common sense than pretty much all of us, save probably Alice.
And besides, if I know anything about any of you guys, I know this. You're gonna try to say that we don't have to be involved in anything they ask you to do if we don't want to, the same way Aaron did, and we're gonna tell you the exact same thing we told Aaron.
Fuck you, we're doing it anyway.
I knew you would say that.
You get what I mean.
He just said it with a sledgehammer.
We did end up involved one way or the other, regardless of our thoughts on it.
I know. And I know that you would involve yourselves because you care about me. But I want them to know that that is your choice. If I make a pact with them, I won't have a choice. But
If they
it
watch us, they
makes-
know.
I mean, but will they? I mean, I don't know.
We wouldn't be part of the agreement, no. But
But we weren't
like
part
as
of
I said,
we weren't part of Aaron's agreement either. We hadn't even met him yet.
but yeah, you're family, and so's Henry. I told you a long time back that I was going to do everything in my power to help you look for him, and that still holds true. So you ain't going through this alone.
Your Dalek
Uh,
Gave up.
yeah, your connection's breaking
You've
up.
done the Dalek thing again. Check the mic.
Yeah.
But I'm probably gonna.
Better?
Yes,
there we
that's
go.
better.
Yes.
Much.
Sorry, what did you say?
Whether you do the pact or not will still help you.
Yeah. If we can find, there may be another way. There may not be. I don't know.
I
But
get what she's saying though. She doesn't have time for another way because
Yeah.
we have so much else.
yeah,
And
I mean, yeah, if it was me, I'd like jump at anything.
I guess
Yeah,
my
no.
my question is, and I think it's probably the last one we need to have because I think we've all made our feelings abundantly clear. I'm on the practicalities here for just one more second. I ask again because we didn't really get an answer to this one. What if they look at your contract, say that they don't do deals like demons, and revoke the offer?
Then I'm back where I started. I
Not
mean,
quite. Good us.
I know, but
That is where she started.
the other day I had none of this, and today I have this. And if I can expedite the process, and I have every confidence that I would be able to find him in time, that I would be able to rescue him in time. But I don't have that time. He does not have that time.
No, I get it.
I don't want my brother to come back to me a shred of the person that he was.
If you're not careful with the wording of that pact, he's gonna do that anyway. Aaron's an elf. He's better built for time than Henry is. I don't know what you put in your agreement. I mean, you're smart. You'd have thought of that. That if you're not careful, if they decide to deal with you entirely on the exact terms of the agreement, because that's another asshole thing that Faye will sometimes do. I mean, you'd have thought of, bring him back and fix what's broken. You would have thought of that, right? Ah.
I mean, I don't know. I asked them. I'm not sure how they can. I don't know what they can fix. Is the thing.
They can do a whole hell of a lot. And they've got other favors. I'd still suggest trying to put it in rather than leaving it out.
Uh-oh.
Great.
It's still worse than because this was
Ah, there we go. Sorry, you froze
That
there.
was super choppy.
yeah.
That was you freezing at the worst possible time too.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, this is a moment, and
Yep.
wow, I freaking love this.
I don't know, you either make it absolutely ironclad and ask in absolute words for anything you want, or be a lot more open-ended about your terms. Either way, on one level you might offend them, but at least they know exactly what you're asking for, and you're likely to get the best possible outcome. And if you don't try paperwork, she might be more inclined to generosity. I don't know. She always seemed more generous when we didn't ask. But that's up to you. You will deal with it however you're comfortable dealing with it. I'm just offering a different perspective from having dealt with Aaron's patrons before, because while the Lord of Misrule was the one who kidnapped us and sent us on the really crappy errands, she was the one who gave us the means to get out of Gray's Inn before that white dragon destroyed us all. And we didn't even ask. That's the thing. I know you want to do this as much on your own as possible, but we've seen more of his patrons than you have. Go armed with information. That's all I'm saying. And that's what we're telling you. She's kind in her way, but half the reason she argued with her husband, as far as we've been able to tell, is him telling her what to do or not to do. So I don't know. It's information that might help you further on in your decision making. And for the record, though, I am sorry to have butted in on your life choices.
It's fine. Then I ask you, I mean, I need more, like you say, information. I need some sort of assurances that if they can turn back the time on what was done to him, great. If they can just present him to me as he is now, great. But how am I to know which I'm going to get? How am I to know that they are going to leave you alone if you choose to be left alone? If Henry chooses to be left alone?
Well, first of all, I'll deal with that last one first. Henry's not as amusing as we are. We're the ones with the powers. We're the ones with the destiny. For the one in the middle, I think I speak for all of us when I say don't bother. We're going to be involved in it no matter what. Leave it off the table. Because we're not leaving you to deal with this alone. You wouldn't let us deal with any of the things that we've dealt with alone. And you continue to not let us deal with the things that we have to deal with alone. When you heard we were fighting a green dragon, you broke off your study and came right to us. You think we'd do less for you? And as for the first, ask. If it were me, I would ask. Heartfelt. And honestly, I don't think you'll have the problems that Aaron did, and I'll tell you why. You're actually given to whimsy and mischief. It's what you do. He didn't. They punished him because he didn't. They'll probably ask less of you than they did of him. Because you know how to laugh. You make people laugh. You make whimsy and mischief wherever you go.
They still
You're-
get a giggle out of the rumor. Remember that rumor you started in Agraff?
The rumor you started in Agrif, the way you greeted these guys when you hadn't seen them for 2 months. Playing
That was inspired.
playing hype person for Darwin. Your love of cute things alone, the fact that you pull a badger out of your bag of tricks every single time.
None! The fact that you named them all!
The fact that you named them all.
Sorry.
Names.
Yeah, but not everybody thinks of that. You don't understand how special you are. They wanted you, and that's the thing. They wanted you, but there's limits to what they might put up with. But because they wanted you, she is minded to be generous with you. She was generous with Aaron, and he wasn't half the whimsy and mischief you are.
You might just quick suggestion, you might show up rather than a contract, a simple list. So it's just, they're not terms so much as these are the asks.
That might go over better.
If they're not demons and they don't like contracts, and they might not, probably not, show up with a list so that way you know what you're looking for.
And it feels less constricting to them.
It's not to play the pun, but I'm sorry, I'm going to. Clarity in the negotiations. I'm sorry, I had to. But it's right, it's true.
Well, to be fair, I have a feeling that's going to be the title for the next session video. So
There you go. We have tagline, but no, but it's the truth though. That's what you're saying. You want clear back and forth. So rather than showing up with a contract,
or make it a discussion rather
Exactly.
than something that gets signed. Because keep in mind, paper and ink are mutable.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. All we're saying is just be careful.
I
And
know.
not just in the specific wording ways. I mean, I know that there's warlock pacts that you can do with demons, and that would be the form those would take. I think the pact is informed by what you're making the pact with. For Ree, it was a prayer. For demons, it's a contract like you'd find in, I guess, Avernus. I've never been to the place. It's pretty much the diametric opposite me. Fae would make it, well, it depends on the Fae, but in this case it'd be something whimsical, something more of a challenge rather than a binding contract. Can I do this thing for you? What is fair trade for what you've given me? Because you're giving her things by being
I
you.
guess. I mean, you say I'm whimsical. Ah, shit. Froze again.
No, you.
We still hear you. We still hear you.
You're fine.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I guess, you say I'm whimsical and make people laugh, but I guess maybe it's the devil in me here coming out, but I do quite like my structure. I like my books.
I think it's more the fact you haven't had much in the way of structure from the sounds of your growing up. I don't think it's down to blood at all, or I'd have grown up very differently.
Well,
you're nervous. That's fair. Unfortunately, one of the lessons that you learn is you can't control everything, and you shut doors if you try. I'm not saying don't try it, because I don't know if I'm right. I feel that I'm right. I've seen bargains that weren't with demons before. Sort of. Glances over at Remy at that point. I mean, this isn't under duress. You can set out a list of wants the way Aaron couldn't, so you're still getting some structure. But I will tell you this much. This much I do know. A Warlock Pact's for life. Unless they decide to shut it down. Because they're not going to expend that on somebody. Unless they don't want it to happen. And as long as you're still taking their powers, even if you're not using them, it's still there. So they get to control that anyway. And I personally don't want... I mean, you saying maybe it's the demon in you, I don't think that's true. I don't think anyone thinks that's true. But that's not going to stop a pissed off Archfey from saying it, and I don't want anyone throwing that in your face, because then I have to go and behead an Archfey, and I really don't feel like doing that this week.
This week.
Well, I've got a dragon waiting.
Yeah,
Dragons
we can
dragons
probably pencil it in for next month.
dragons are way more fun to behead anyway. I speak from experience. I'm just saying, you haven't had a lot of trust, I don't think.
No.
This is as safe as place as any as you're going to get to start. Because whatever happens, if they're not fair to you, then we will up and behead a bitch.
Oh, we will.
Well, it's hard to behead someone with arrows. You'll just turn her into a pincushion.
I have my sword.
Rapiers are... Darvin, can you really behead somebody with a rapier?
Not particularly, no. You have to stab a whole lot.
They're not really slashing weapons.
I mean, if you really, really, really hated,
I was
Like I
thinking
said,
over
you'd have to
that.
stab a whole lot.
And keep in mind, while you're stabbing, they're doing things to you, so you're better off with a one good sharp swing.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, you see the point. If you trust and she does you wrong, we will know because we're right there with you. And we're taking on ancient dragons and cosmic horrors from beyond reality. You think we're gonna shrink at often an archfey? You really think that? We got you. Do what you need to in the way that she's less likely to turn down, because we want this to happen for you. Am I wrong?
No, of course not.
If Clarity wants it to happen, then yes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, we're
only
making
question
sure
I
this
had was
happens.
just the method. That's it. That's
Yeah,
the only
and
part.
that's what we're talking about. I want the most effective method, and I don't think a written contract is it. Not for Archfey anyway. But I was doing that thing where I was talking for you guys again, and I was pretty sure I had everybody's mood.
Oh
But-
no, you had it.
But if nothing else, I thought it would reassure Clarity a bit more to actually hear it from all of you too. So it's not just me being a bossy boots again.
I guess it helps that you're very good at reading people.
Yeah. Oh, incidentally, I know that you've already had one early oral misgift, but given the story you told us, and as a way of underlining the point, Ree and I got you something too, and puts a mid-sized flat gift wrapped box in front of you.
I mean, it's not
Open it.
right.
It's
I open it.
on a little bed of cotton wool. There's what appears to be a horn filigree. It's red gold to match your skin tone with blue stones. Now the thing about these is, because I know you're rogue stealthy, if when you're wearing them you pass your hand over it, and she demonstrates by tracing a line along a bit of the filigree of her finger, it turns black and non-reflective.
Ooh,
That way you can.
that's
I
wonderful. It's
I like
beautiful.
I like your horns, and I think you should be proud of them. And now you can have them properly
I am
decorated.
now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now you can have them properly decorated, and it brings out the little life lesson notch.
And thereby even more gorgeous.
I've given Hazel fantasy fodder for weeks. My work here's done. Anyway, however you're gonna do, just let us know how it went, because if nothing else, we care, and we want to know how it went. And if she gets really cross and turns you into something fluffy, I mean, at least you'll be something fluffy.
And inspirational.
Yes.
Look, I only said that because I knew she'd make that face when I did. So hey.
But right now, let's actually sit down and eat, and we'll deal with everything else and stuff later, because we are well past that time. But this was a conversation that had to happen. Apparently, I didn't know that it was gonna come down to Hazel rolling incredibly well on insight. But we'll see you in 2 weeks for continuing along with our journey.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye.